You got ripped off. Maybe a contractor took your money and never finished the job. Maybe someone crashed into your car and their insurance is ghosting you. You know you have a case. But can you actually bring it to small claims court? That is the question we are answering today. Welcome to Know the Law. I am going to walk you through exactly what small claims court is designed to handle, what it cannot touch, and the mistakes people make that get their cases thrown out before they even begin. By the end of this video, you will know whether your situation belongs in small claims court and what you need to do before you file. Here is the single most important thing to understand about small claims court. It is a court that awards money. That is it. If you win, you walk away with a money judgment. A court order that says the other person owes you a specific dollar amount. That is the only outcome available. Small claims court exists to resolve financial disputes between everyday people without the cost and complexity of a full civil trial. This makes it incredibly useful for renters chasing security deposits, employees owed unpaid wages, consumers who paid for something and got nothing, and people dealing with property damage. If your problem comes down to someone owing you money, small claims court might be exactly the tool you need. The answer depends heavily on where you live, and the range is wide. In most states, the dollar limits for small claims court vary significantly. Some states set their caps quite low, limiting claims to a few $1,000s, while others allow individuals to bring much larger disputes. Generally, in most states, limits fall somewhere in the middle of that range. Some states also treat individual filers differently from business filers, setting separate and lower limits for companies. Check the rules in your specific state before you assume your claim fits within the limit. This is where people get confused. It is not enough to feel wronged. You need a legal theory, a legal reason why the court should make the other person pay you. Small claims court recognizes several of these. Breach of contract is one of the most common. This applies when someone made an agreement with you, written or verbal in most cases, and then failed to follow through. The contractor who took your deposit and disappeared. The landlord who promised to fix the heat and never did. The business that sold you something and never delivered. Personal injury is another valid claim. If someone's careless or reckless actions caused you physical harm, you may have grounds to sue. A slip and fall on someone's property. An injury caused by someone else's negligence. These situations can qualify. Intentional harm is also recognized. If someone deliberately hurt you or damaged your property, that goes beyond negligence and falls into a category the court takes seriously. Breach of warranty is the fourth major theory. When a product or service comes with a guarantee, written or implied, and that guarantee is not honored, you may have a claim. A product that fails to work as advertised and causes you a financial loss is a classic example. If your situation fits one of these categories and results in a financial loss, you can put a number on. Small claims court may be the right path. This is just as important as knowing what it can do. Small claims court cannot grant what lawyers call equitable relief. That means it cannot order someone to stop doing something. It cannot issue an injunction, which is a court order, telling a person or company to halt a specific action. If you want someone stopped, you need a different court entirely. Small claims court also cannot handle family law matters. Divorce, guardianship, name changes, none of these belong in small claims. It cannot process bankruptcy filings either. These all require different legal processes with different courts. And here is one that surprises a lot of people. You generally cannot sue the federal government, a federal agency, or a federal employee for actions they took as part of their job in small claims court. Small claims courts simply do not have jurisdiction over federal entities. Jurisdiction means the legal authority to hear a case. If your dispute involves a federal employer or agency, you will need to pursue that through a different legal channel entirely. Even if you have a perfect claim, filing too late ends it immediately. Courts do not bend on this. The rule is called the statute of limitations, the legal deadline for filing your case. Miss it and your case gets dismissed, no matter how strong it is. For personal injury claims, the window is generally between 1 and 3 years from the time of the injury, or from when you discovered the harm, depending on where you live. For breach of contract claims, that window is generally between 2 and 6 years from the date of the breach or discovery. These windows vary by state, so do not assume you have more time than you do. When in doubt, file sooner rather than later. Once you file, the other party must be officially notified. This is called service. If the defendant lives in the same county as the court, they must generally be served at least 2 weeks before the hearing. If they are outside the county, that window is typically longer. Service is not optional, and timing it wrong can force you to start over. Picture this. You hired someone to remodel your bathroom. You paid them up front. They did about half the work, made excuses for weeks, and eventually stopped responding. You had to hire someone else to finish the job and spent more than you originally agreed to pay. That is a breach of contract claim. There was an agreement. They failed to fulfill it. You have a financial loss you can calculate. As long as your total loss falls within your state's dollar limit and you file before the breach of contract deadline in your state, you have a legitimate case for small claims court. And if the court rules in your favor, you may also be awarded court costs and attorney fees, depending on what your state law allows or what your original contract specified. Small claims court is genuinely powerful when you use it correctly. Know your legal theory, know your deadline, know your limits. Now you know the law. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment below with the legal situation you want us to break down next. The law affects every part of your life, and you might as well know how it works. Knowledge is the one thing they cannot take from you. See you in the next episode of Know the Law.